I'd absolutely tell them that I've been there before. Suffering in silence, help them understand that they're not alone, because I wish someone would have been able to do that for me. That's just something that really resonates with me, so I'd kind of like to resonate with someone else.
What is going on, Reboot Team? Chris coming at you with yet another testimonial from a brother in the struggle coming to us from our exclusive Reboot implementation program. We're going to get to know him a little bit, we're going to get to know his journey, and yeah, we're gonna really dive into it today. I like this guy a lot, man. I always say this, but I really do. He's really coming along. He asks great questions and he puts in great effort, and he's starting to reap what he's sown up until this point. And it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. It's only the beginning. So it's a really exciting time. From my observation, anyway, after working with him for a few months now in his reboot, we're going to get to know him a little bit. Haxton, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Chris. Thank you for all that, by the way. But
No,
how are you
dude,
doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good, and I meant every word. And before we dive into anything like uber specific as far as where you're at now, how you feeling now in your reboot, I kind of want to know from the very, very beginning, how did you discover the program to start out with?
The way that I discovered the program is, actually, I guess through the YouTube channel. I don't think I've ever like explained this before, but like back in like high school, I would like watch his videos, JK's videos, and like this goes all the way back to like sophomore year for me in high school. And I remember I thought they were all really interesting, and I remember he was really cryptic about how he would explain things. Like he would talk about the program, and he would never mention the price. I remember that he always mentioned there was a system, and I thought that was pretty cool until I eventually found. I wasn't 18 at the time yet, so skip forward a couple years. I joined the army. I went into training, and then by the time I got out, I was 18 and 9 months old. And then I realized that I need to join this program because I just had my biggest streak going for me, where it was like 9 months no porn or anything like that. So
Right.
yeah, I found out that I needed this program, so I ended up using all the money that I made out of training, and then I just joined the program after that, and that was it. Yeah.
That's really interesting because most of the gentlemen that I speak to on a call like this, they're all, maybe well into their 20s and, when they first discover the program for the first time, but you were, like you said, still in high school, which is really, really interesting. Obviously, share as much as you're comfortable with sharing, but like, what was going on at the time that made you curious about seeking help?
I mean, well, okay, so to back up, I've been dealing with like a compulsive behavior with pornography for like, I suppose since I was like 13 years old. So, at that point, it was only like, what, 3 or 4 years compulsive. So, I was like, it seems like I was fresh into it all. And I like, every time that I like revealed my age to the group, it was like, dude, you're 19 years old. You have like so much ahead of you. I don't even know how you got into this group. And yeah, I guess that makes sense, but I don't know, like, I forgot what I was gonna say, but like, yeah, that was just, I was like obviously struggling in high school with this problem, and like, I was basically a trial rebooter where I'd like, go search for answers online and then come up with something new, doesn't work, to try something new again a week later. It was just basically like that until I eventually got out of my training and broke my longest streak or whatever. That's about it.
No, I totally hear where you're coming from. I had a very similar approach, just in the sense of, try this particular method for a week or two and, such and such method over here. And then, through a deep dive on the internet, perhaps out of a place of desperation, like there's gotta be something out there. And I'm curious, when you discovered, maybe JK and the YouTube channel and all that, what was the moment like when you finally said, you know what, like I like what I hear here. If I'm gonna do this, like let's do this. Like, what was the moment like when you finally said, let's do it?
Well, I'd say that the moment that happened was, I think, okay, I was filling out the implementation like call thing, or not the call, the like implementation. There's the little form you got to fill out before you actually join the group.
Right.
And I remember, I think the first time I filled it out, I only filled it out like halfway. And then GT went ahead and gave me a call because I put my phone number and whatnot, and I think he saw that it was half submitted, and I told him how I was feeling about things, and he kind of did persuade me a little bit, which I'm glad he ended up doing. Um, but like I think it was when I realized that I might get stuck in the same cycle that I was stuck in like high school. Like JK was already pretty convincing with everything. Like the reason I even got pulled into the YouTube channel is because he was really convincing with like the system and explaining how like, you actually need coping skills and whatnot. And I always thought that was interesting. But yeah, I mean, I suppose I had a call with GT that changed it all, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah, shout out to GT. You know, GT was my reboot strategist when I was first starting out as well, so I completely know what a type of conversation is like all your various, is this really gonna work type of thoughts, like,
Yeah.
is this worth it type of thing. And it's interesting you say that because, again, I've literally been in that pair of shoes. And now that I sort of see it on the other side, if you will, every single person that you find in the elevator recovery family has been affected by, compulsive behaviors in one form or another. We're not just
Mm.
guys that know a lot about it, but we're also people that have been there. Whether you have like
Yeah.
myself or Arestus who have literally been in the same program you're in, but yeah, like people that have rebooted, like people that have actually put in the work. So it's a
Mm.
matter of not just talking the talk, but having walked the walk and continuing to walk the walk. So we got you. And all that is to say, I completely know what you may have felt at that time. And I appreciate you sharing that because I think it's common for guys to, approach a group like this after trying various methods on your own, like,
Yeah.
is this just going to be another quick fix? Like, is this actually going to work? But here you are now. I'd love to hear about, the types of things you've learned and where you're at right now. Let me just start here. I mean, how has the private community, like the private Facebook group, been for you so far? What type of value have you received from the private community?
I suppose that I've always had like a problem with like isolation and of course like trying to like hide parts of myself, because of shame and whatnot. And the Facebook group and the group in general has just, I mean, I'm still working on it, but I think it's done wonders for the isolation and like the avoidance of like shame. Because I have to like actually put myself out there. Like if you look in the group, you'll see all these guys that are like making progress and like being extremely open. Like there's people, some of these guys are like admitting things that like I would have trouble admitting. I'm like, damn, dude, that guy's really strong for that. And I mean, I think it's impressive, and I think it actually like it motivates me to want to not hide myself because it makes it so there's the vision of others being in my same shoes. Like it really just like kind of connects me, or like I suppose just allows me to not have that one-sided mindset of shame, you know?
I completely know what you mean. The Facebook
Yeah.
community, like you said, it's guys sharing things that perhaps they may not have otherwise shared with just anybody.
Yeah.
It's an exclusive, really special group. It's a group of gentlemen that get it, not just in the sense of like, yeah, me too, bro, I've struggled with such and such too, but we're all in this program because we're all actively trying to do something about our situation. It's not like it's some,
Mm.
thread on Reddit or something like that, or
Yeah.
NoFap forum or whatever. It's like we're very, very intentional. And that whole thing about isolation, like you said, it's exclusive enough where it's like if someone doesn't share for a while, we'll notice. It's like,
Mm.
yo, where's Haxton at? But to your point, shout out to you, man, because yeah, it's like when you do share to the group, it's like you show up. Like you've got things to say, and that sense of presence and accountability, it's really inspiring to see. And sort of speaking of that, what's your experience been like having accountability partners from the program?
I think it's so much different than like how I would go about like well I mean the program in general is just so much different than like how I ever would have went things like if I hadn't been in the group. Like it's almost like my accountability partners kind of live in the background of my head now. Like I can kind of see like I don't know it is that kind of strange but like
No, I completely know what you mean, but tell me about that.
yeah, because I mean with accountability, you like say anything, like it doesn't even have to just be about like, oh, I just used porn today or whatever, but like say any like slip up kind of happens, you like just immediately, the way that I do is I just immediately tell them. And it's like it kind of just brings me out of the current situation that I'm in. Like say I might be in a bad mood or scrolled on social media for too long and I'll come to the group and I'll be like, "Hey guys, I just did this." And it'll kind of just pull me out of that situation of like the feelings that I'm currently feeling, you know? It
Mm.
like I don't know, and like the visibility for it is like also kind of makes me realize like this is me crossing my boundaries and I need to stop and change up what I'm doing if it continues, you know? No, other than that, accountability also makes it like we are my group personally, like we share our wins together and like at the end of every night we'll share wins, we'll share our morning routines, and I think it builds like kind of a group cohesion for everything that we're working on together, you know?
I
It feels
love
like a
that.
solidified group, I guess.
Very cool. That's really, really great. And I love that you guys are focusing on the wins. It's like, yeah, if there's a slip up, like you said, it's not a matter of like, you blew it, you're back to day one or this or that. It's just like, all right, look, what happened? Like what were you feeling? What led to that? What tools do you have to put things in perspective? So actually kind of segue into what have been some of the tools to, help you out so far.
Some of the tools that like I've really come to like specific tools like the dialogue tool and the rational behavior like tool. Like all the tools, there's an incredible amount of value you can get out of them if you use them.
Oh yeah.
I remember in my first 90 days I was using like the feelings exercise. I mean, I kept using it and I started having the belief that it like wasn't helping as much as it used to. And I think that was because I realized that most of my feelings are like kind of a result of my beliefs. So that's why the rational checklist started to like take precedence over like the feelings exercise, if that makes sense, you know? Like, I don't know.
Can you
I
go
still
into
I still like do one every day for my morning routine, but I just don't do them as much as like often as I had. But no, that definitely the dialogue and the rational exercise. Those are those are two of my favorite. And I mean, there's some other tools like, I mean, I guess accountability is really a tool too. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I want to pause you for just a second because you said something that kind of like tickled my ear. I was like, ooh. You
mm,
said, run it by me one more time, how when you were realizing like certain feelings were coming out of certain beliefs. Can you talk a little bit about that?
like whenever I woke up in the morning, I would either be feeling numb or like just feeling calm. And I kind of got into like a routine of just feeling those two emotions every morning. And eventually, well, I mean, I told the group, and one of the brothers said that he does his morning routine like 30 minutes after he wakes up when he can actually have time to do something like shower. And that was what I started doing with like my feelings exercise. I think I just like stopped getting value. And you know how everybody's like, I mean, how in the first 90 days you kind of just have to try every tool to understand if whether or not you are a good fit for it, I suppose, you know? How some brothers will choose tools over others. At this point, I've been in the group for like 180 days, so or like over 180 days. So like I decided that like the feelings exercise wasn't one that like I got as much value out of because like I would like recognize an emotion and I wouldn't feel like the rational exercise like helps me identify it and identify like the belief behind it and whatnot. Does that answer your question or?
No, I just, it was an interesting phrase that you used because it brought me back to specific moments in my dialoguing and using feelings exercises and a lot of the ways that I would document my feelings sort of sprouted from the way I just believed certain things, certain
Mm,
things I believed about myself or my job or my situation, whatever it was. And I noticed the more progress I made in my reboot, the feelings toward my state or uh, whatever it was, it's like I could be tired but not have it like not have that necessarily be a bad thing. It's like
mm,
I could be stressed but have at least the confidence in knowing that I had the accountability partners to lean on or the tools to at least kind of like keep things in perspective, or I had the go-to routines of self-care to wind down in a healthy way and chill out, you know? So I went the way you said that kind of like, sparked something. I was like, yeah, I've been there too. I know what that's like. So I thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Mm.
No, that's awesome, man. And kind of also a segue, one of the things that also sort of helped me, and I would love to hear how it's helped you, was working with the coaches in the program. I'm curious as to what your experience has been like so far with the coaching calls.
Like most of my classes have been when the coaching calls were. So I would only be, I mean, I'd only just like submit questions to like say Milan. And I mean, that's the only coach that I've really like asked questions so far. And I mean, I think that it's very useful. I think it's definitely one of those things you get out with the more you put in,
Oh yeah.
especially with coaches. Because I mean, I've only asked Milan a couple questions, and I think his answers have been like absolutely like useful to me. Really submitted like a couple questions over the course of like a couple weeks. But imagine if I had like really honed in and like used each one of his coaching calls every week. I mean, but it is definitely one of those things that you get out the more that you put in, and like I haven't been able to put in very much during the semester, but yeah.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. You certainly get out what you put in, and that's so, so true. There's a question that I love to ask on a call like this, and with what you've learned and with what you've experienced so far, I want to throw a scenario at you. Like, let's imagine for a moment someone you know, someone who trusts you, confides in you about having their own struggles with sexually compulsive behaviors, right? And similar, in a similar way that you and I know about, up until this point, he's been just struggling in silence, really not knowing who to talk to, where to turn, and kind of on the fence as far as what the next move is, right? Yeah, kind of knowing what you know now and having experienced what you have so far. Is there anything that you would share with this particular person?
I mean, I'd absolutely tell them that I've been there before. Like, I mean, based on what you said, like, suffering in silence, I mean, that phrase really resonates with me. It's important for them to understand that, like, they are not the only one that has gone through that, and they're not the only one who will go through that.
Mm.
And I mean, as far as what the next steps would be, I mean, I'd just be like, I've been there before, and if you want to know how like I have helped myself with my behavior, my compulsive behavior, I mean, I wouldn't try to like sell them the group, but I'd be like, hey man, I mean, I think you should probably check this out. I would probably tell them about the coping mechanisms and accountability and whatnot. Who
Mhm.
knows? I might even end up being their accountability partner if they're close enough. But I'd absolutely try to like help them understand that they're not alone because I wish someone would have been able to do that for me, or like, I guess before I joined the program.
That's really, really cool, man. And if this conversation makes it to the YouTube channel or the podcasts, odds are similar to the way you found this program. This is probably somebody who either has a history of compulsive behaviors or currently is struggling right now. So since they're watching or listening, again, if this makes it to the, podcast or channel, is there anything you'd like to share with them directly?
I'd probably say you're not alone. I mean, just to piggyback off of understand that there's people out there who've absolutely been there. And that's just something that really resonates with me. So I'd kind of like to resonate with someone else, trouble with this problem. But
Not alone. It sounds so simple, but I know that that is something that resonates with me. You can hear it 100 times, but it's well worth the reminder every single time. The more
mm,
personal something feels, the more universal it actually is. Particularly with a world like this. I've been there, Haxton has been there, and we're proof that there is hope. So, Haxton, thank you for shining some light on the fact that hope exists, the fact that help exists. I'm proud of you and your progress so far. And like I said at the beginning of the call, this is just the beginning. This was great, dude. Like, thank you so much for your insight and your time.